Orange Jacket Day.
All right, appreciate everybody being here. Exciting day for our program as we welcome our newest Tigers today during the early signing period. Hope everybody received the bios and notes package we distributed this morning. Coach Sweeney's going to have some opening comments about this class, then we'll open to questions in the room and finish up with questions virtually. So, Coach, when you're ready, go ahead.
All right. Well, signing day is upon us and come and gone here. Always a special day. To me, it's special because you have a great group of young people and their families that have chosen to come be a part of our program, that publicly express by signing with Clemson that they believe in us, that they believe in our program, the way we do things, who we are, and that's really, really, something that you just never take for granted, and I'm very thankful. It's a blessing, really, to welcome another great group of young people, and again, a great group of families as well to come join us here. I'm very thankful for all the families that have, just blessed us with the opportunity to coach their son. And it has been a great day. No drama or anything like that. You got some of the best players in the country that have been committed for a long time and, knew what they wanted to do and would have signed back in the summer if you'd have let them. And so it's just really, really cool for the day to finally get here that they've been waiting on, and just very thankful for this group. As I always say, time will tell, as it does with any signing class. Everybody gets excited about the signing class. I get a little more excited about what they do throughout their career. So time will tell with this class, just like it does every other class. But I really believe that this group will prove to be a very, very special group. I really believe that. I think it's a group that's built in the trenches. We've got a lot of athleticism. We've got a bunch of skill on both sides. Another great quarterback coming in here. Just really excited about the whole group and how we put it together. And something that we're very proud of. Every class that I've had since February of '09, my first class, every single class. Now that we won the league this year, every single class has won a championship, which is a part of what we want for everybody that comes to Clemson. So every single class has won a championship that's been here, or multiple, and I think that without a doubt this group will keep that going. So excited to get started with them when that time comes. This is my 14th signing class, and it's our 13th top 15 class in a row. So, like everything that we do in this program, we're incredibly consistent. We've been very consistent in recruiting. We've been very consistent in graduation. We've been very consistent in guys going to the NFL, very consistent in job placement, as we've had 100% job placement going on 5 years in a row, very consistent in winning on the field. So it all starts in recruiting. And being consistent in that, and your evaluation, your development, getting the right people to come be a part of your program. So I'm really, really proud of our staff. Our staff did a wonderful job, especially with a lot of transition and change last year, for our staff to be able to go out and put together one of the best classes in the country and to hit it out of the park with what we needed to do. And then not only the guys, but we got several guys that we thought would be leaving Clemson that are going to stay at Clemson. That's also a sign. When you see guys that could go ahead and go to the pros and all this stuff that's going on in college football, to choose to want to stay, I think that just shows how they feel about Clemson, how they feel about their coaches, and again, who we are as a program. So this is a great day for us, for sure, and again, what it's all about. So I'm really proud of the staff again, and when I say the staff, it's the coaches, it's our support staff, it's Jordan, it's Ty, it's Zach, it's Josh, it's Chanel, it's James. I mean, everybody just does an unbelievable job. All of our student helpers and workers. everybody just it's an all hands on deck approach here, and everybody takes a lot of pride in what they do. So as far as the breakdown of the class, 27 signees, 26 out of high school and one transfer. And then we signed a PWO in Strecco that's going to come in here as well as a mid-year. So we got 16 of those guys, 16 mid-years. So really excited about that. I think that's the most we've had, I think, ever. I think one year we either had 13 or 15, but I think that's the most mid-years we've had, and really excited about having these guys on campus. So 8 of the mid-years are on offense, 8 of the mid-years are on defense, with Strecco counted in there. As far as the breakdown, again, 2 quarterbacks, 2 running back signees, and 1 preferred walk-on signee, 2 tight ends, 3 wide receivers, 3 offensive linemen, and then we signed an athlete in Tink, Myson Kelly, who's going to train as a receiver and cross-train as a DB, and just a kid that we wanted in the program, and we'll figure out what's the best spot for him as we start coaching him. But unbelievably dynamic and very consistent player. So, and then defensively, 6 defensive linemen. I think that's the most we've signed since I think that Christian Wilkins group, maybe back in 15, and then 3 safeties, 3 corners, 2 linebackers. So really just a good group. And again, these guys have been committed for forever, for a long time now, and it's a really close class. That's one of the things I love about this group too, and one of the positives about the way people communicate today is they're just a very connected group, and then with 16 of these guys coming in and starting in January, some of them already here, it's fun. And as I've gone around, you see the connection in this group already. So it's a close group already, and again, a group that I think will do great things. We had 7 states and D.C. Represented in this group: South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Texas, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, and D.C. So again, just got kids coming from all over to be a part of what we're doing here at Clemson, and we've got an incredibly talented team returning. We've got a very talented team that'll be coming back to Tigertown in January. And, man, this group's going to be a great addition. Again, 16 of them coming mid-year. It's going to be a fun spring ahead. A lot of competition, a lot of evaluation, a lot of opportunity to teach and develop and install and grow our team as we set the foundation for not just next year, but for the next 4 or 5 years to come here in Clemson. So really excited about this group. And today and tomorrow, we're celebrating a bunch of graduates. So I just came from our graduate luncheon over at Little John. We have a huge group of graduates, and these guys will be earning their degrees tomorrow, and some of them are master's degrees or second degrees. I'm really proud of those guys, and so we're celebrating them today and tomorrow, and then we're welcoming a bunch of new Tigers today as well. So it's a great time to be a part of our program. And as far as who these guys are, quarterback, Chris Vizina, CV as we call him, and Paul Tyson, both coming from Alabama, and actually know each other. And I think Paul would maybe mentored CV a little bit when he was in like middle school or something, but. CV is a great player coming from Briarwood. I mean, he's a big-time talent, a guy that we think, could play for anybody in the country. I mean, he is a special player, big, strong, make all the throws, can really run. He's coming from a great program. And then Paul Tyson is a guy that we recruited a little bit in high school, one of the most prolific passers in the history of the state of Alabama, coming out of high school. 3 years in Tuscaloosa, and then he spent this past year at Arizona State. And with Billy Wiles leaving and obviously DJ leaving, we had a gap, so we needed to get a veteran guy. We obviously believe in Cade and who he is and what we think he's going to do in our program, and we see CV in that same light. So, again, young guys, we don't have many guys, so Trent Pierman, who's really developing nicely, and Hunter Helms is a veteran guy that's been in our program, but we really needed somebody else to come in and kind of give us a little more experience in the room. And so Paul fits that. Kind of a crazy, obviously he's Coach Bryant's great grandson, which is just I can't even. It's just a surreal world that I'm even experiencing that. So really kind of cool. I know his family, obviously, and really thankful that he had a lot of opportunity, but I'm thankful that he chose to come be a part and embrace the role that we have for him here. And so that's our two quarterbacks. Running back, Jay Haynes out of Alabama, and then Jarvis Green from right here at Dutch Fork. They're similar and different. And the one thing that they have in common, if you watch these guys, incredibly consistent, dominant performers every week. Every single week you watch these guys, and they're the best player on the field, and regardless. So I think we got exactly what we needed there. And then I'll tell you, this little Peyton Strecco, who was going to sign with Air Force. He was committed to Air Force and decided he wanted to go a little different route. He is a high-level PWO and a kid that I think brings a lot to the table. So I feel good about the guys we got there at running back. He's also from Georgia. And then really excited about the receivers coming in here. We signed, two big guys, two guys with some size, and two guys that are kind of intermediate type guys. Counting Tink in that because we're going to start Tink at Myson Kelly. We're going to start him at receiver and cross train him as a DB, and like I said, and see where we go from there. But man, Ronan Hannafin from up in Massachusetts at first. We don't go up to Massachusetts often, but when we do, we get a great one. And the last time we went up there, it was Christian Wilkins, so no pressure to Ronan. But man, Ronan is he's a special talent. He's a big, strong, athletic kid that can really run, and he's just a football player. I mean, he could literally play anywhere. I mean, he could play either side of the ball. He could do anything. But we really love what he brings to the table, as a receiver, and I'm excited to get my hands on him. But a big body guy and a great competitor. Great ball skills, you name it. Just a great get for us. So excited about having him. Noble Johnson from out in Texas. He is really, really, really athletic and gifted. Can do a lot of things. He will remind you a little bit of Bo. And he's just a dynamic guy. He's explosive. He's got great ball skills. He came. One of the things I love about Noble is he came to camp, because I told him I wasn't going to offer him unless I got a chance to see him in person at camp, and he had all kind of offers. And he came here and competed, and he dominated. Just absolutely put on a show in our camp and really made it easy. And then just an amazing family, a great addition. So super excited about him. He knew what he wanted to do, kind of like Cade Klubnik. He kind of grew up following Clemson, and it's a reminder to me that, there's a lot of these kids today. I mean, the last, 10, 12 years they've been watching Clemson, and, we just as a reminder of how strong our brand is, regardless of where we go. And but Noble's a perfect example of that. And then Tyler Brown. Tyler is, right down the road here, incredibly polished. A guy, he's an example and a reminder of why we don't offer freshmen and sophomores around here, and that it's a developmental game. This kid has gotten better and better and better and better. And, man, he put on a show this year. A very, very polished player. He's very similar to Antonio in some ways. He's very polished. He can really run. He's a great kid, and he's dreamed about coming to Clemson, and I love that. And he made his dream come true. He made it. He made it happen. So I'm excited about him. And then Tink, right here, there's really not anything Myson can't do. I mean, I've watched this kid a lot like DeAndre Hopkins. I watched him come through, and he was just great at everything. And, DeAndre wasn't really highly recruited. He played everything. He did all this stuff, and then he just came to college, and he got locked in. And I see Tink in that same regard. I mean, it doesn't matter where you put him, running back, safety, corner, to the field, in the boundary, in the slot. He's the best player, and he has been a punt returner, kick returner, you name it. He is truly one of the best, I think, just pure players in this class. And, I think he can do a lot of things. So I'm really excited about that group and what they bring to the table to go along with Adam and Bo and Antonio and Cole Turner and Speck and all those guys that'll be back here. Stellato, we got a really good group, and I think this is a good addition with it. And then 2 tight ends, Olsen Pat Henry and Marcus Dixon. Olsen coming from down there at Naples. Kyle Richardson did a great job in evaluating and pursuing and recruiting exactly who he was after. It was a very tight group that we recruited in this class at tight end. And, man, we're super excited about Olsen and Marcus Dixon coming from Pennsylvania. 2 great kids, 2 guys with high-level potential to go right along with Josh Sapp, who I think has got a chance to be a really good player for us. Had a great scrimmage. We had a JV scrimmage Monday. And, so we got a really good group, obviously, with the guys that are already on the roster. So excited about where we are there at that position. Same thing I'd say about Coach Thomas Austin. What a job he did in identifying and evaluating and recruiting what we needed in this offensive line. And to go right on top of Blake Miller and Colin Sadler, who are 2, guys that are going to play a ton of football here at Clemson. But, man, to go out to Texas and get Harris Sewell from Permian, and then be able to get Ian Reed from Vandergrift. I mean, 2 great programs, 2 historic programs. These are big, strong, tough, passionate guys when it comes to playing the offensive line. And Thomas did a great job of identifying everything he was looking for. And then you got Big Zach Owens from right down the road here in Georgia at Eagles Landing. He is easily one of the biggest guys that we've had come through here at Clemson. I mean, he is an absolute giant and a guy that I'm super excited about coaching. 3 great kids, great families, great additions, and just what we need in that offensive line. So, again, every position, it's exciting to get these guys to come in on top of the guys that we have. And then defensively, we signed those 6 D linemen. So, signed 3 DNs. David Ojebwe from up there, same school as Trey at St. John's in D.C., AJ from down in Georgia, Hoffler, another just, great young prospect, and T.J. Parker from Central there in Phoenix City, Alabama. These are 3 guys that all 3 bring different things to the table. All three have great size, strength, athleticism, and dynamic, so just great kids, great families, great fits for us, been committed for quite a while now, and really 3 guys that could have gone anywhere they wanted to go in the country. And so it's really awesome to have them come and help us, build for our future in that defensive line. Then you look at the D tackles. Peter Woods could really probably play anywhere. He could play linebacker, DN, 3 technique, 4-eye, nose, shade, running back. I mean, there's really anything he wants to do. That he I think is as good a football player as there is in this country, and he's been committed a long time. He's special, #1 player down there in state Alabama, and a special family, and just a blessing to be able to have him come join us, coming from my rival high school. I grew up. You didn't like the Thompson Warriors. So I promise you, that's the first home visit from a Pelham Panther at a Thompson Warrior. So it's kind of great to team up with him, and it's going to be a lot of fun these next few years. Same thing with Vic Burley. Man, we've been tracking this big guy for quite a while, and he's a monster. He is a monster. Great kid, great family. Mom's assistant principal at the rival school, but he comes from just an absolutely great program there at Warner Robins, and just one of the best we've signed. I really believe that. Already here, already getting a little practice in and going to the bowl with us, and then big Steph Island Green from down at Rome. He's one of those guys that, he's similar to those. That's the other thing I like about these three guys is they got some similarities, but there's some differences too. And Steph Island is kind of a combination of those two. I mean, he really is explosive. He's a very explosive player and a tough kid with a hard edge to him, and I think a great fit. So, man, Coach Ski and Coach Eason, what a fantastic job they did in recruiting these guys and leading the way there. And then I'll say the same thing about Wes, Coach Goodwin. Man, we said we're going to take two backers, and man, to go get Jamal Anderson and D. Creighton, been committed since the summer, a long time now. Hey, super excited about these guys right here. I mean, Jamal from Mill Creek and D from Denmark, two great families, two great kids that I think are exactly what we needed at that position. And then on the back end, three corners and three safeties. Avion Terrell, I got a picture, just goes to show you, I mean, sometimes God just blesses you, right? And I got a picture with little Avion when he was in like the 7th grade when we were recruiting AJ. And I told him back then, I said, the only reason we were recruiting AJ was to get him. And so here we are. And that little guy grew up, and he's a baller. He is a incredibly competitive, skilled, focused kid, and knows what it looks like. I mean, he brings a presence with him at that position, and obviously he's been exposed to a lot through his brother and his development and his time here at Clemson. So, man, Avion is a great addition coming out of Westlake. Shelton Lewis, out of Stockbridge. When I was at his house, his dad went to his room and he brought a loose leaf piece of paper that was kind of torn up a little bit, and when he was about 10 years old, he wrote down I think his top 8 school choices that he wanted to go and play college football at one day, and number 1 on his list was Clemson, and just really cool. It's a really, really cool thing, and now here he is, grown up, and he's made that dream a reality. And I would say the same thing, man. Shelton he's here now. He's incredibly focused. He's a very skilled kid. He's tough. He's just about his business. That's what I'm really excited about these guys and who they are. And just, I think they've got a level of maturity to them that you don't always see, especially at sometimes at that position. They're really locked in technically and fundamentally, and passionate about it. And then you got Brandon Strozier from down at St. Francis. He is long. He is a long athlete who can run, and same thing, been committed a long time. Has tremendous athleticism, but just a ton of length. So all three of those guys, with what we need to the field and the boundary and our nickel corner, I mean, they really, I think, fit everything that we're looking for at the position. And then at safety, Kylan Webb, Robert Billings, and Khalil Barnes, same thing, man. Mickey Kahn, just a phenomenal job. Kylan Webb is a tremendous athlete. If you really study him, he can do anything. I mean, he plays both sides of the ball. He really understands the game. He's tough. He's fast. He can really run. He's got a bright future ahead of him. Same thing with Robert Billings at Milton. A great player, a very dynamic player. He's physical. And then Khalil Barnes from over at North Oconee. Been committed a while, but I guess made it public here just recently. Man, this is a kid that was born to come to Clemson. I mean, you spend 5 minutes with him, and there's just like, you just know this guy's supposed to be at Clemson. Same thing with his family. Just a great group of prospects. Khalil's also here right now, going through practice, and will go to the bowl with us. But super excited about having all of these young men be Tigers, and I cannot tell you again just how awesome their families are. and just thankful that, again, they chose us. They chose to believe in who we are and the way we do things, and that's going to be a lot of fun as we move forward. So as far as our team, good bowl prep. Everybody broke today. They're gonna be off here for a few days, and then we'll meet back up Christmas Day, and actually get a little bit of practice in Christmas night. That'll kind of be like a Monday for us, game week wise, and get back going. So, and then also I want to just say this on yesterday, something really cool. But Will Shipley, as y'all saw, was named Academic All-American, and man, that's only my second time that I've had a guy. He's the first running back ever at Clemson to do that, and my first one and my last one was 2012 Dalton Freeman. So I think you got to have a 3.5 just to even be in the conversation, and then obviously you got to be a great player. You got to merit that. So it's a hard award to have, and I think Clemson went a long time prior to Dalton Freeman winning it. And then it's been another decade. So I'm just really proud of Shipley, and it just says everything you need to know about him. You know, who he is. You know, I always say how you do anything is how you do everything, and he is truly committed to excellence in all areas. So just awesome to see him recognized in that fashion yesterday. And with that, I'll take questions.
Sounds like, 4 guys here practicing. Is it 4?
Yep.
And then what can you do with it? What can they learn? What value does it give them to kind of be with the team right now?
Oh, I think just start that acclimatization process, that transition. We can start working with them and teaching them. So they've got to go through a couple days of shorts. So I think a couple of them will actually be able to maybe get into shells one of the days. But obviously they don't know your schemes and stuff, but you can start that process. But a lot of individual, we do JV work every day, which culminated in a big scrimmage on Monday, which was really fun. We might do a little bit of more scrimmaging on our Tuesday practice down there, but just being in the meetings, starting that process of learning your teammates, getting exposed to some of the drill work, the terminology, those type things. So. And they get to have a great trip to the Orange Bowl. This is we've never been able to do this before. We've been able to bring guys in the past, maybe to do some practice here or there, but we've never been able to take guys with us. So I think it'll be a great experience for them, a kind of an eye-opening thing, and again, just get a little bit of a head start.
I guess when you look at the positions that you've filled at this point, are there any positions you still want to recruit for February? Is there further openings?
I mean, we feel great about where we are. I mean, roster-wise, I mean, we don't really have any. I don't have any room at the end hardly. So we're pretty stacked. So it's a great problem to have. We got some guys, like I said, we got some guys coming back that we didn't know were coming back. I promise you, will be the best recruits in this class. So I'm super excited about that. But to answer your question is, ask me tomorrow. It might be a different answer, right? So that's just kind of where we are. Anything can happen. I think it's just a fluid. You're always evaluating where college football is now. You're always evaluating your roster every day, and you're evaluating everything. So, as we sit today, we are in a great spot, and from a roster standpoint, love our guys here, love where they are, and but anything can change, and if it does, you address it.
Some of these guys coming back, are there any surprises, people we don't know about?
Oh, there were some surprises to me. I don't know that y'all know about things, but I don't think some of them have said anything, but at some point they will.
To clarify on Paul, is he coming here as a grad transfer to be immediately eligible? Since he's already
Yeah, he graduated.
Okay.
Yeah, he
So
graduated.
Immediately eligible?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's eligible.
So he'd be here this spring?
He'll be here in January. Yep.
You've had a couple of years now having to navigate the NIL situation. How have you seen that become a part of recruiting and handled sort of navigating those waters?
It really hasn't been much of an issue for us. It's been a positive for us. You know, our focus has always been inside out here. We've not used it in recruiting. You know, we focus on our roster. I think for us, it's always been about, you know, no different than pre-NIL. I've always said if you do a great job with your players, and you have a great program, you have a good culture, you're equipping them and really fulfilling the purpose of the program, the recruiting will take care of itself.
There's always so much that happens in like the conversations with the parents. Like, I'm sure these parents come to you guys and
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
what is this? How does my kid
Oh, yeah.
not end up
Yeah.
in tax fraud? Like, just there's so much more on your plate now.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say is you know, that pre-NIL, that's always been the focus. Now that we have NIL, it's still the focus as far as, you know, okay, making sure that our roster, the guys here, they have all the resources that if they want to participate, some guys don't even participate, they don't want to. But for those guys who really want to maximize their NIL, that we have the resources available to them, that we protect them, train them, educate them. I mean, we just built a unbelievable facility. I don't know if y'all have had a chance to tour that. A great facility. We hired a unbelievable world-class NIL coordinator who has incredible knowledge. So it's become just another part of the process. So those conversations that you're talking about, you have to have answers for those conversations. But as far as using the NIL as a reason to come here, that's not nothing has changed. It's still a holistic approach for us. Man, we've got some amazing people out there. You know, the dear old Clemson, Tiger Impact, and just great you know, programs that are available to our players here. And again, that's why you see guys staying here. You know, guys are maximizing their opportunities, and they know that, you know, they can do whatever they want to do here. It's just really up to them. But the focus has always been inside out. And to be honest with you, as I've said many times, when NIL came, there was nobody more equipped than us as a program. You know, with what we've been doing for 14 years now with Paul Journey, from a financial literacy standpoint, tax education, you name it, agents, everything. You know, we've always had that approach. So conversations have changed. There's been more to talk about, just like when applied science and nutrition and strength conditioning and all these things, as things have grown, this is just another area that's important. And so you got to make sure that you address it. And then, you know, honestly, you know, I was thinking about it this summer. You know, I was thinking through it, and I mean, for me, we built this program on NIL. We really did, and it's probably different than what you're thinking, though. We built this program in God's name, image, and likeness, and that's how I look at it. So as things have changed, God has always been, you know, the foundation of what I do, and so, you know, we've been dealing with His name, image, and likeness for a long time, and I think as this new era has come forward, you know, God just continues to bless us here at Clemson.
Transfer portal, with the transfer portal going on now, and then also bowl practice, is there more talk about maybe moving this early signing period? You know, maybe in July and somewhere down there?
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. I mean, I guess there's a lot of conversation going on, but, you know, I mean, honestly, I love the early signing period. I've always been an advocate for it. I think it ought to be earlier. I personally, where we are today in college football, I think after August 1 of your senior year, you should be able to sign anytime you want. And I think it protects, because it's sad what's going on with high school recruiting. There's a lot of kids in high school that used to have a lot of opportunity and access that aren't getting it now. And so, me personally, I mean, if I was a high school kid or a high school coach, I'd fight moving that thing back. I would advocate to leave it or move it forward, because again, I think it protects the high school kids. I think, and again, I don't know what, like, I think you should just sign anytime after August 1. Like, you offer somebody a scholarship, they ought to be able to sign. And that right there would protect a lot of these fake offers, protect these kids from all these fake offers, you know, and I think that's important. And I think it would protect the kids, all these kids that are committed for a long time, and then all of a sudden the portal opens up and people see this portal guy, and then they call the high school kid back and say, hey, now you don't have a scholarship here anymore. So I think it ought to be earlier so that those kids could lock in to their school. I mean, like all these guys that we've had, they would have signed in June. They would have signed in July. They would have signed anytime. All these guys. We just signed 27 guys, 26 high school kids, and all 26 would have signed back in the summer. So I think leave it where it is or move it earlier, or either don't even just say, hey, anytime after August 1, you can sign. And that would slow down a lot of these uncommittable offers, number one, and then number two, it protects the kid, and I think it would help I think it helps the coach as well. Like, now again, I think the kids are already protected and they can leave anytime, but I think if it was the case and you could sign early, and they fire the coach or the head coach leaves, then hey, you're free to open your recruitment back up, you know, because I think that's important. They're already protected; they can leave anytime they want. But I think if you had an early signing period, but it would cut out a lot of these fake offers, and it would protect these kids so they, you know, from coaches coming back and pulling the offer. You know, I think that is important, and you know, I think it would protect the high school recruiting. So you know, who knows? But I think also maybe there would be some ADs out there that might give that coach maybe another year. There's a really good class signed, committed already, and he might say, you know what, hey, because if I fire this guy, these guys are kind of they can go wherever they want. It might give that guy another year or two. So I think it's good on both sides, to be honest with you. And you know, I know there's a lot going on. There's always a lot going on. When is there not a lot going on? So, I mean, there's never this utopia moment. You know, you have to learn how to balance things. You got to learn how to spin a bunch of plates at one time. That's just the way it is. So I personally like it, you know, where it is. I do think there should be some changes from the portal standpoint. I think that, you know, again, I think right now a kid should be, if your coach leaves, your head coach, if he leaves or is fired, you ought to be able to go and play wherever you want. I think that's great. I think if you're a graduate, you ought to be able to go and be eligible right away. You come to college to get a degree, and you've earned that right. I think you ought to be able to go and be eligible right away. But I think there just needs to be, you know, a few tweaks. I think first of all that if you're not a graduate or your coach is not fired, you should have to sit a year. You should sit a year, get acclimated, because I think if that was, because right now we have no barriers, we have no reason for pause, we have no pain, no consequences, and so I think if a kid had to sit a year, again, you can go anywhere you want, anytime. You don't need anybody's permission. But if your coach is not fired or left, or you're not a graduate, you sit a year. And then guess what? Upon graduation, you get that year back. And if you're this big-time superstar, you're not going to need that extra year anyway, right? So, but we would re-incentivize graduation, which is what we should be about in collegiate athletics. That's my opinion. So, and I think that would, if there was just a little bit of pause, it would cut back on some of these hasty decisions that kids make. You know, just a little bit of pause. And now all of a sudden maybe that kid's like, that's it, a season. And they push through. And 9 times out of 10, man, it works out for them. But, you know, again, there's lots of opportunity. But I think, number one, it would stop tampering. You know, because you got all this tampering going on out there because now there's this whole new pool of recruits, right? It's not just high school kids anymore or graduates or junior college guys. It's freshmen. It's mid-year enrollees. It's sophomores. And that's not good. It's not healthy. It's not good for the game. It's not good for anybody. And so, you know, it would cut out the tampering, number one. And again, I think it would protect the high school recruits. It would protect high school recruiting a little bit. Because, again, you got a lot of these high school kids that aren't getting opportunities. So, if coach leaves or is fired, hey, you go. You're eligible. No problem. And I think that makes everybody have to make good decisions there. Make hasty decisions with coaches too. I think it works both ways. And I think, if you're not a graduate or your coach isn't gone, you can go, but you sit. Now there's just a little bit of consequence that now all of a sudden you got to really want to do that. And what's wrong with a little bit of development? What's wrong with a little bit of time? Like we all want this microwave. We need to have a crock pot mentality. Right? The best meals come from that crock pot when you leave at about 8 in the morning, mama's got some food in the crock, and you're like, woo, that's going to be good when I get home about 6, right? But everybody wants it in the microwave, and that's usually not the best meals, the one you just heat up. That's how everybody wants it to be, but that's just what I think. So, and I'm passionate about the high school kids and the high school recruiting and the development. But what do I know? I don't know. That's what I think.
Dabo, based on your interactions this recruiting cycle, how often was NIL brought up by the recruits or family members?
Yeah, I mean, you address all those things. You talk about just like it's a holistic approach. We talk about our program, and that is a part of our program. But as far as like using it as like you come here, you get that ain't us. That ain't ever going to be us. You have people out there guaranteeing people this and that. How do you do that? First of all, it's against the rules. Secondly, how do you guarantee somebody something they ain't even done anything? Shouldn't you have to perform? So all I can tell you is this is Clemson. And, man, our kids, and the reason you got all these people coming is because, again, our focus is on the guys on the roster. And when your players on the roster, they're happy, they know they have opportunity, that resonates to the recruits. So that's your best recruiters are the guys on your team, best recruiters you got. It's also the worst recruiters you got.
But did you have a lot of recruits and families asking about that?
We address all of those things. Again, they ask about strength conditioning. They ask about nutrition. They ask about academic services. They ask about housing. They ask about, offense, defense. Just part of the conversation. It's no different. It's just another piece of the pie now.
I guess 2 years in a row, going back to Hunter Johnson last year, now Paul, quarterbacks are coming into a situation where they know they're probably not going to be a starter. What about the situation appealed to Paul? I guess why is he a person that was willing to come to that situation?
Yeah, we're honest. We're transparent. I'm not looking for somebody. I'm not looking for him to. I wasn't looking for a guy to come in here and be the starter. We think we have that, but we needed a guy. You got Trent, who hasn't played. CV's just getting here. And we're going to let him compete. We'll see how it all plays out, and maybe it works out. Maybe Cade does what we think he can do, and maybe it works out where we could maybe play CV 4 games and hold him. I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe CV wins the job. I don't know. But we needed an older guy who's been through a lot of game plans, a lot of practices, somebody who's got a level of maturity to him, a Hunter Johnson situation. That's what we needed. And honestly, we were going to wait till May. We were going to wait till May and let all this stuff settle out and sort out and spring ball and all that, and then we were going to go get a guy in May that, thought he might, because, that's the other sad part about this. There's a lot of kids that aren't going to have opportunity. They're going from a scholarship to no scholarship, or they're going, to a level they didn't anticipate. But we knew there would be somebody in May at that position that when it came down to it would want to come get, Clemson experience and to compete to, be a 2, if you will. And so we were very honest with Paul, and he had a lot of Group of 5 opportunities. He had one really good SEC opportunity to go compete to be the starter. But I think, for him, he values who we are here, and I think he he's also a guy that wants to, coach at some point, and I think he saw this as the best of both worlds for him, to be a great teammate, to be ready, to help these young guys grow and mature. He's seen a lot. He's been around some great players, and he's been around some great coaches, but also to, further lay a foundation for what he wants his future to look like. So, I mean, and for me, that's like, so that was our, we're just transparent, what we're looking for, and the rest is history. And, to me, I'm like, wow, it'd be pretty cool to be able to help Bear Bryant's great-grandson get into coaching one day, help him develop, a little bit in that realm. So that'd be pretty cool. But we got some time before that comes. We need him to bring that veteran presence that Hunter brought for us. Really thankful we got Hunter Johnson right now. I'll tell you that. I'm really thankful we got him. And so that's kind of what we were looking for. And again, we were going to wait till May, but it just kind of happened. It came about. And Hamp Green actually reached out. One of our players, Hamp Green, actually reached out to me to let me know that Paul was in the portal and that he would be interested in talking. So that's kind of how that came about. So called him and had a conversation and asked him what he's looking for and talked about what we're looking for. And he came up here and decided to come.
So, kind of in regards to the portal, you could sign more than 25 this year. For the first time, they took the cap off. So you go 28. And so a lot of people say, well, the only way you can build now is through the portal. But it's obvious. You think, no, I'd rather have Ronan Hannafin for 3 or 4 years. I'd rather have Tyler Brown for 3 or 4 years than some other guy for 1 or 2. Is that?
It depends on where you are. For some places, that's the only way you can build.
Sure.
Because of maybe you're just getting that job. Maybe you're having to flip an entire roster. That's not us. I mean, we've been here. We've had 13 top 15 recruiting classes in a row, 12 10-plus win seasons in a row, 7 out of the last 8 years conference championships. I mean, we've been incredibly consistent, and it's not that, there could be a gap. As I've said, I mean, there could be a gap. Last year, we tried to get a couple of high-level OL. Both of them turned out pretty good. It's a very small pool. I don't care how many people in the portal. When what we're looking for, it's a very small pool, and so otherwise it's not right for us. I mean, it has to be the right fit, and again, you have to have the right need there. But you're not going to just bring a guy in just to bring a guy in. So we'll use it as needed when we need it. Again, if we get some time, but right now, I wanted to get Ronan. The guys that we signed, we wanted, and that's how we've always done it. And if we have a need somewhere along the way, and we reach out, sometimes there's interest. We've reached out to several people. We've reached out to kids this cycle. Some we've evaluated, not the right fit for us. Some we're not the right fit for them. Whatever, but it's a constant. It never stops. But as far as flipping our roster through the portal, that's just not where we are as a program. If I was somewhere else, and I was taking over a program, you probably wouldn't have a choice, because you might have a bunch of guys leave or whatever, and you got to be able to, get older quicker, and that's not where we are. We love our roster, and we love the developmental process of where we are, but again, from time to time, you might have a spot that you have to address, and just hasn't happened for us yet. It will. There's no doubt.
You talk about Peter Woods as a guy who can play tackle, he can play end. I mean, it's dependent on who comes back. Could you play him more at end just because he has that ability?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see once we get him here and start coaching him and all that, and then again settle out the roster. But I know this, he's going to find somewhere. I mean, he's a really good football player. He's dynamic. He'll be one of the strongest guys when he gets here. I mean, he's unbelievable. It's just a freaky guy. That whole group is. I mean, really. I mean, the whole group. AJ had to have a little shoulder surgery, so Hoffler, and he won't be here till the summer. But it's a good group of D linemen that we'll be able to utilize in a lot of different ways.
Any questions for Coach from Zoom? Anybody else in the room? Oh, go ahead, Anna.
This is Anna. Oh, sorry. Just real quick. Do you know what wide receiver position Noble will start at? And then will Harris I think he has some snapping ability. Will he play cross train at center and guard?
Yeah, Harris is a, he's played tackle, as you know, but he projects more as a center guard for us, and definitely will work both of those areas. And as far as Ronan, I mean, he's just a wide receiver, so I mean, he can play, any receiver position. We'll see what's best. I mean, most likely he'll start out at what we call the 2 and the 9. Same with Ronan, and we'll go from there. And then Tyler and Tink will probably play more our 2 and 5 position, but that doesn't mean they can't play the 9 as well. I mean, players are players, and until you start coaching them, it's really hard to evaluate what's their best spot within the scheme of what you're doing.
This is Larry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Do you have a feel for when these guys are going to announce they're coming back?
Yeah, I got a feel. I'm not, could be any time. Could be today. Could be after the bowl game. I'll just leave that up to them. But all I can tell you is this is a great signing class. So we got some portal guys. They're guys that are already here and they decided to stay. So they're in the I'm staying portal.
Anyone else for Coach?
Deb, are there any other positions that you think you might need to add experience through the portal or address through the portal?
Again, there's another big window in May. I mean, things can happen in January. Things can happen in the spring. Somebody could get hurt. Somebody could leave. I mean, there's always, things to evaluate, So, I mean, we're in a pretty good spot, where we are. There's probably a couple of spots that if it was the right thing, we would maybe consider that, but it's just a very small pool when it comes to filling our need. But, that could change, again, because your roster could change at any given moment in today's college football. It could change. And you have to be ready to respond to that. And that's a positive. I think that's a great thing that we, all of a sudden you lose kids in the spring, that there is a portal. Where else you going to get players, right? All of a sudden you got 10 guys pack up and leave for whatever reason. I mean, there's nowhere to get anybody. So I'm thankful that you at least have an opportunity to go supplement your roster somehow. And we just haven't had that. We didn't have anybody leave after spring last year. But who knows? We may this year. I mean, so you just can't. There's no. Used to I could kind of, I knew exactly, but now it's just a very fluid deal, and it changes all the time. But it's fun. It's fun, because I think, again, I think culture still matters, and I think relationships matter, and I think that's what wins long term, and that's who we are. It's the way we've always been, and that's why we're one of the most consistent programs in the country, and we will continue to be. I kind of look at things in decades now, right? As I said a couple weeks ago, I mean, we had the third best decade in college football history last decade, and we're off to a better start this decade than that one, with 2 out of 3 conference championships, 3 10-plus win seasons. And so, I think it's fun because there's new challenges, new dynamics, and you got to be able to navigate all those things. And, we're built for where we are right now in college football. And we got a lot of success ahead. We won 2 national championships last decade. We'll have more to come this decade.
All right. Thank you, Coach.